Good afternoon and welcome to another Kerfuffle showcase, and I am delighted to have the perfectly, look at that, I was going to say perfectly hatted, I don't know if you could do it of hatted, but Richard Price, MD of Dezrez. Welcome, good to see you here today, sir. You okay?
I'm great, thanks Simon. Thanks for having me on. Really looking forward to speaking to you today.
What can agents expect to see and what makes it an industry first?
So do you want to put up the first slide there, Simon? Number 3, I think we're going to.
Probably when my technical skills collapse, but let's see how we can do it. Okay.
All right. So Zapier, I like to think of it kind of as the App Store or Google Store, where you've got all applications, hundreds of applications on there, and Zapier is a thing where all these applications have connected up to, so we don't have to do the work to connect them. They're already connected up to Zapier. All we needed to do was connect to Zapier. So that's what we've done. So you can go on Zapier and you can see a little Resi logo in it, and then we can connect all the Resi triggers and endpoints up to anything in any of these apps. You can see there it says search 750 plus apps. So, and within each app, you can do multiple triggers and multiple things. So it gives a huge amount of flexibility to an agent when you connect up to Zapier. So for example, if you go on to the next slide, actually, Si, this is how Zapier explain it.
First thing I was going to just comment, or just jump on that though as well, is, you know, just looking at that snapshot there, these are not like just little parochial, and I don't mean that in the wrong way, but these aren't parochial estate agency suppliers. These are absolute leviathans, your Trellos, your Facebooks, your Dropboxes. You know, the reason why I got so excited about this, and as I understand it, Zapier is what they would call middleware, isn't it? Is essentially where, just as what it says on the tin, it sits between two different systems. It handles the mapping, which is the really complex part of that, and enables that integration to a large degree. It enables you to almost like forget the heavy lifting, doesn't it, in terms of integration, and puts it back, puts it back in a really easy fashion back to people, as you said, so they don't even have to be techies anymore. I think, I haven't used Zapier myself, I'll be very honest, but I have used tools like If This Then That, which have a similar methodology, don't they, and ethos, in that you can see the icons of the applications that you want to use, and where you put them essentially in the flow chart there defines what's going to happen then from the system from that point on.
Yeah, exactly. You're kind of building like it's a workflow engine essentially. When something happens somewhere, do something else. And this is how, what you've put on the screen there now, this is how Zapier explain it. So a trigger is when someone registers for my event. The action is follow up in a week with next steps. So it might be when someone registers for my event, send them an email to say, oh, welcome to the event. You know, we're looking forward to seeing you. And you can also then send them, you can delay that, and you can send other things. So you can do lots of things with those triggers. So if you go on to the next one, actually, Si. So I'll give you an example of something in the property industry which is a bit more kind of relevant to us. So in Resi, there's a number of triggers because we built it on an API. There's lots of event endpoints which happen. So when anything happens in Resi, we can trigger something in another system. Okay. So a trigger might be a new instruction is created. So there's a button in Resi you can click, and that happens essentially. And at that point, then something can happen in the background to send something to Zapier. So that action might be get all the property information. So again, through the API, when you get the information back from the API, there's a lot of data in there. There'll be like the description, the main photos, the secondary, third photos. All of that will be in there. The name of the property, the vendor, everything comes back from Resi. You can then use that information to create your Facebook post. So you say, okay, let's use the main description, the main photo plus 2 other images, and that would then automatically send that to Facebook when you do that first action, which is clicking the instructions created. So, but it wouldn't just do that. It would also then do your Instagram post. It would also do your Twitter post. And also at the same time, you could do something called Twilio. You're talking about some of those apps are not just the small apps out there. Well, there are some very small software providers on there as well.
Yeah.
There's one called Twilio, and they handle all of the notification system for people like Amazon. So they're a massive company. So you can get the power of that. So what they do is they send SMSs and emails, and so you could have all those things go up to your social media platform, and everyone would be consistent. So you're creating great customer service there. Yeah. Whichever new property you take on, that can then be sent up to your social media platforms in the same way every time. But you could also then at the same time send a text message to the vendor to say your property is now live on all these social media channels. Share it with your friends or whatever it might be, and you could even then go another step and have that instruction sent to Google Sheets. So from a reporting point of view, every time something goes on instructed, you can go to a reporting engine. So sorry, I've got quite a long-winded way of describing it.
It needed explaining that, and then I think the critical thing that I'm taking from this though is, again, one of the things that one of our biggest competitors, perversely, in my previous life was actually people, normally corporate agents, that had felt, look, we don't want to be the same, and we feel like if we have the same CRM system as the guy down the street, where's our point of difference? How do we stay apart? Well, actually, what you're showing me, and actually, we were, EA Masters, Seth Godin was there again, who wrote The Purple Cow, all about that need, that requirement to be different, to stand out there. But what you're telling me is not just in terms of from a marketing perspective, but actually how your agency works as well can be largely determined by yourself now that you've got this premium ability to customize that. Is that right?
Absolutely. We've built a load of Zaps that you can use. We've built about 30 of them. We ran a competition internally, so even customer-facing staff and developers and all got involved in creating these apps. So we're all super excited about it in Dezrez. But as I said, you don't need to be a developer, so you can just get onto Zapier and you can start going crazy with all these different integrations, you can really give yourself a point of difference from a customer service point of view, and you don't have to share that with us or your competitors, so you can create that difference. Absolutely.
So if I understand it right as well, because let's when we go back to it, where I mentioned when you first launched a great fanfare about the API, which I think it's fair to say, my old company at the time didn't have a solution for there. One of the things though that I liked about it was that you did need to be technical to make that API solution work to its fullest, didn't you? And let's be honest, that's, whilst it's still a very important demographic, because those are the ones that need to have that flexibility, that customization to it, it didn't meet very easily, did it, the whole part of the marketplace's requirements. And what I like is you've actually evolved that. So just talk to me about how that Zapier integration came about, and was it as a development on the back of that original API?
Yeah, I think we spoke to agents a lot about what they wanted from software, and they mentioned the point you just came up with is they want to have a point of difference from others, but they also want to automate things as much as possible. We've had a couple of goes at workflow engines. Some have been more successful than others, but this, Zapier have built a workflow engine. So and again, because we've got the API, we can connect up to it. So there's no point in us building our own workflow engine when Zapier's got one that works perfectly well. And in fact, obviously, it's the thing they do every day, and they've got hundreds of developers working on this thing. So they're gonna be always up there with the best technology, the best new applications come on the market. You're future-proofing your software here as well, because if a new application comes out and you want to buy it and connect to it, and it's on Zapier, you can do that straight away. So your CRM can stay the same, and all the bits around it can change, and you can continue to provide that service, and you don't have to continually change your CRM to try and get the latest technology.
I was looking at again, in my paranoid sense, as we know, Salesforce, the world's largest CRM system, I kept thinking, oh God, what happens if they start paying attention to a state agency, or as they called it, real estate? Well, first of all, they tended to be, they were so big that they never really noticed us, certainly over here in the UK. But the thing that I could imagine would be so compelling for an agent would be that, look, they already have 2,000, 3,000 integrations natively in there. They can use Zapier as well. Like so often happens with evolution like this, what you've done though, as a notice, you've neutralized that, haven't you? There's no way that somebody come in and realistically say we've got more integrations than you, because Zapier are the people that do most of that there, especially when you still enable people to do custom integration with yourself as well. So that must feel that's about as future proofed as he's got, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, we're talking about Zapier here, but there is all the other work we're doing with partners. We're working with Cojute. I don't know if you've heard of those guys. They've got a really interesting solution. They've got blockchain technology behind them, and they're looking at connecting up the way in which properties are sold and connect up all different business software around that. So that's a really interesting one. So Zapier obviously is key, because it's giving that ability for anyone to build a Zap and use this advanced technology. But we are still working with people specifically in our industry, like Moneypenny, and those guys, and making sure that we're connected with them too. So we're getting best at, and that's not going to stop just because we've got Zapier. We'll still continue to do that. And we've got a huge list of clients, of other suppliers we're working with to get through, and we've got.
Everyone will be beating a path to your door there as well. It's awfully unkind of me, this, Rich, but I've never worried about that. James just jumped up again with a question here, just asking, can Resi integrate with direct marketing solutions? Well, let me deal with that first part of it, because of course, yes, absolutely. You've just seen in terms of that. Are you building bespoke integration with those people in our industry, or what's your approach there?
We've already got an integration with a couple of them. Brief Your Market, we've already got that integration up and running. But there's MailChimp, there's all these other things like HubSpot and all those things on Zapier that you can use as well. So there's a lot of opportunity there to integrate with.
Probably, actually, I'm sorry, it sounds like I'm talking about Salesforce, but actually one thing you need to understand about Salesforce is, whilst it's fantastic, it is a real pain to get set up correctly and everything else. And I think it's fair to say, isn't it, that one of the reasons is direct marketing solutions, email solutions, EDMs as they're called, that's probably one of the main reasons that they were on that Zapier store, wasn't it? Because Salesforce natively doesn't handle email particularly well at all. In fact, it's a weakness. And what he goes on to say, though, he says, I want to be able to press a button and target houses automatically in the neighbourhood when my staff mark a property sale agreed, or when we list a new property. Now, my understanding is that if you've got that integration through to Brief Your Market, that's a core bit of functionality that Brief Your Market have already, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just trying to read through that. Yeah, I think the thing to do there, James, is get in touch with us. I'm sure one of the guys who knows Zapier a lot better than I do, and all the integration work we've got going on, absolutely, I'm sure we can come up with a solution. And I think the fun thing about Zapier is we get asked these really obscure things by agents, and said, oh, can I solve this problem using Zapier? And we're like, well, yeah, let's try. And so we're at the moment, because we're at quite an early stage in this, although obviously we've got it out there with clients, and clients are using it and loving it. There's quite a good opportunity for us, because we're excited about it as well. Ross and the team, they're all loving chatting to clients about it and working out how we can solve problems. We like solving those sorts of things. So it's absolutely, come and have a chat with us. We'd be happy to
reach out to them direct there, James, or my details, drop me a line and I'll happily forward on those. I think we're actually planning, from what I understand, we're going to have a bit of a kind of panel round table with Ross, obviously, who's overseeing this as well, and talk about what's possible in terms of those Zapier things. So I'm looking forward to that. Look forward to all the batshit mental stuff I'm going to be. Can I order a Deliveroo based on when we've sold a property?
Do you know what? We had the competition internally, and that was one I was looking for. They're not on there yet. I think we need a campaign to get Deliveroo on there, or something like that.
Well, if you can come up with what do they call it? If they can come up with a zap that tells me whether Uber Eats, Just Eat, or Deliveroo are going to win first in terms of delivering, you've got my vote. Okay. So let's have a look here. So we've spoke about where the Zapier integration is going to come from and everything else here. What else is going to be the benefit of premium then? Do you believe to an estate agent? The estate agent of 2021.
Yeah, so there's a number of other things we're giving away with our premium offering. So it's not just Zapier. There is also something called Resi Meet, which is it's like a Zoom integration basically, but we've actually built a conferencing solution into our software. So that the beauty of that is if you want to set up an appointment, whether it's a valuation of viewing, you can do that directly in the software, get all the information about the vendor, the applicant, and then you can schedule a conference call with them directly, and that information gets sent out to them at the time of the meeting. They just click on the link, and you don't even have to move away from your desktop. You can just sit there and have the virtual viewing or whatever it might be with them, or the meeting. So you can do that. You can use that with your team.
I mean, was that solely? Did that solely come around because of lockdown, or was that kind of? That's really good innovation. That
absolutely, and we initially started out with a Zoom integration, but we find it wasn't as good as this option. We could, because again, the way the team I was talking about, they're doing all the integration side of things, had this idea, and they said, let's try using this capability, and that's what we did. They ran with it and created something pretty quickly that we've now built into the software. So it's a really good thing. Obviously now as we're in lockdown, and if you want to get in touch with your team, if you want to have a Monday morning meeting and everyone's at home, you can set that meeting up. Just click on all the negotiators that you want to get in the meeting, or your valuers, and set that meeting up. And so it just kind of
really powerful, really good.
It's a really cool bit of tech there.
Rosalind Burrows just jumps in with Resi Meet, love it. So there you go. That's you've had informal endorsements. That's great.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. Look forward to catching up over the coming weeks and months.
Awesome. Thank you, Simon. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you.